radio spot this time round. That's a bit of a drag. That's some K-Love from Dallas. Nevertheless, what I do want to tell you about is a new revised edition of the Shoestring Pirates, which is in fact... That's right, Romford, Essex, RM1-2QE. I was going to play that, but I'm not going to have bloody time now. Probably ready to go to Billy Joe. Right, don't forget, coming up in 6 minutes' time, 6 minutes' time, we've got Ian Johnson, yes, and Senator. He's going to be having a main in the brain about the quality of radio power. And as far as I can understand, you're going to be trouble. I've never lost one of these power. I don't believe in stuff like that. It's not radio, is it? Anyway, it seems that, of course, the story goes that Chris Carey got bored with Nova and said to Caroline, do you want to use the satellite? And I said, oh, yes, please. But of course, they're a bunch of wallets. I would call it something else. Something to do with something in hand, but nevertheless. People more than any bunch of diabolical, and I know Ian Johnson's got a few things to say about it. Plus, somebody at the station got verbal diarrhea on the phone to Pete after. Fatal mistake, considering it was on tape. Now, we're not going to be broadcasting the conversation, not the actual telephone conversation. We're going to be quoting from it. But we have got the evidence. Believe me, we have got the evidence. So WFRL comes up with another hot one. As always, don't we bring them to you? Unbelievable. 5 to 11, 5 minutes to go. I suppose I've got to stop watching. No, I feel I'll give you a break. You want QFL magazine, all you want to meet to look for the 5-star kid. You heard Pete Evans earlier on. He won a subscription to Pirate Chat, plus an extra copy this month's copy. He also got an airset recording of this programme. And he also won the final hour of Radio Atlantic. And he didn't go any further than level 3. So but if you really know a lot about free radio, and you think you can go all the way, hopefully someone gets knocked out, eh? Right into it, WFRL, PO Box 220342, W5600, Wuppertal 22 in Germany. At WFRL, PO Box 220342, W5600, Wuppertal 22 in Germany. The mail from the box should be arriving probably the end of next week, or the week after, I can't work it out, and then we send it the second week in the month. Which means you're going to have to wait a while for a reply, because it only comes once a month. All your mail goes to Germany, and it comes back to England. It goes to a couple of addresses before we finally get it. And I know you're expecting the mail next week, so we'll have to see on that one. Apart from that, this has been the last programme I've done in this studio, because I've put it out. I'm moving home. I've given up smoking. It's been a good fun for me, actually. So, I've got to put all this out, yeah, I've got to put some free radio tapes together, though, to get the next one going. So, until the 2nd of June, Ian Walker on WFRL on the 7th of April, 91. Stand by for Ian Johnson, the Tennyson, and then Keith Archer at midday with the world of radio. I shall bid you a good day. Stay tuned to the rest of the programme, and lots of top news for Caroline coming up. So stay tuned, okay, and I'll play out with Bob Dylan.
Which is that part of outer space which the gravitational pull is just suitable to right to cause the satellite to be pulled along by the relevant gravitational pull to keep it in exactly the same place, which is what they call a geostationary orbit. No, not the geostationary orbit, I've got that wrong, it's something else. But anyway, never mind. The main thing is it seems to be in the same place at the same time, which is just above the Carey in Africa, if I remember rightly, on the Astra 1A satellite. Then that's how it's done, you see. And the Clark Belt is the place that was invented by a man, or named after a man who invented the idea. He was a science fiction writer back in the 1940s. In fact, I think it was the man behind 2001: A Space Odyssey, if I remember rightly, or at least come up with the original idea. Anyway, that's all I had to watch for, because what we're really on about here is the broadcast from Radio Caroline, which commenced the Tuesday before last, that's right, the Tuesday before Easter at 12 o'clock midday. Radio Caroline started to transmit on transponder number No, you got that wrong. 5. I nearly said 7 then. Transponder number 5, which happens to carry normally the lifestyle programs on television during the day, and the Japanese stuff and kiddie television programs at other times of the day. But the important thing is the audio channel, because if you select audio 6 on your satellite television receiver on that particular channel, then you'll come across the signals during the day from Radio Caroline. So how did it all come about? Well, some of you back in the good old days of Irish pirate radio will no doubt remember solid rock. Well, perhaps not quite solid rock during the course of the last week or so. There have been a few exceptions, but most of it from Radio Caroline has been. If you wonder why I'm out of breath, because I've just screeched back from the outside the studio, so my apologies. Anyway, yes, most of the programming has been rock music. Why, you ask? Well, as I was explaining, Caroline were offered the facility, and after a bit of dithering, eventually got their act together. The problem basically has been that there's a sort of a draw between what is the priority, whether the priority is to get the ship up and at least in a slightly more comfortable form, or whether it's to put some sort of programming back on the air to try and bring some revenue in to help things. Well, I think basically everybody was hoping that the Ross Revenge Support Group would raise quite a bit of money, but that's not quite been the case. And so at first the interest was more in the ship, but as it's been shown that the income from supporters is not going to keep the ship alive, then the sort of impetus was turned towards trying to get some sort of radio programs together. And consequently, the idea of the satellites has dragged a bit. But eventually it was decided to start recording some continuous music tapes, otherwise they might lose the facility, because obviously Carey's team was screaming out for it. I should hasten to add that Chris Carey is not around at the moment. He left the country shortly after the decision to close Nova down, and went to Spain on holiday. I believe he's got a nice new yacht down there which he went to play with for a while. He then went off to Taiwan, where he's got a lot of contracts with factories making equipment for him. And whilst he was there, he went to visit Australia. So he's certainly been getting around, so not quite sure when he's due back, but he's been keeping in touch whilst he's been away. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens when he does come back. But in the meantime, the people from Caroline have been dealing with people at Camberley, and the main person obviously being Vincent Monsey, who's been informed of the decision by Carey to allow Caroline to have the facility. Well, the situation basically was that tapes were supposed to be produced so that the station could air them, and the idea was just to get them down to Camberley and they'd be aired by the engineers down there. Unfortunately, it wasn't that easy, because of course Caroline had no studio facilities of its own on land, all on the ship, and the ship wasn't in a position where it could actually produce programs. The other difficulty was that the programs, for convenience, are produced on 8-hour long videotapes, or on long-play video machines, I should say, so they're actually 8 hours long. And this allows them to be fed in, and a lot more programming put out automatically, and avoiding the need for somebody to stand over the tapes all day long. Well, these facilities didn't defeat us, so first of all we had to go out and purchase such machines. I believe either 2 or 3 such machines have been purchased. In addition to that, then some sort of rudimentary studio facilities had to be created. Well, that took some time to do, and in fact in the interim period, a number of people sort of recorded programs on what facilities they had. They included Tony Kirk, flame-throwing, hot-rocking Tony Kirk, as they call him, who hadn't got any proper mixing facilities and literally just put together continuous music without any mix, so you will have heard his tapes going out during the first week as rather disjointed, abrupt stops and starts. But he did have at least some Caroline jingles and promos there to identify it. I believe Melanie McCarthy and Andy Bradgate, or Colin Newsy-Dial, whatever you want to call them, were recording programs on board Tom Anderson's houseboat, which does have studio facilities on board. Tom Anderson and James King had in fact been running a small business doing commercial production work, and they've got a certain amount of studio facility on board the boat, so they made that available. And in addition to that, 2 people from the old days of Caroline, you may remember Nigel Roberts and Stevie Lane. They both, in fact, now are sort of living together, and all that. And they decided to help out because they're very much into the old rock scene, as it were, and with their record collection they produced some tapes as well. These were aired during that first week, from the Tuesday onwards, the first 2 records being quite appropriate ones, I think. Records that will probably mean something to which I'll come to a bit later on. But then during the whole week up at Carey, we just continued to take some promos and jingles going out, but most of it just good quality rock music, basically. Well, the situation then became one where it was decided something would be done, and this is where we come over to a gentleman who, in fact, was with Garrett Line originally on the Ross Revenge. He served with the Ross Revenge between the 1st of December 1986 and the 19th of January 1987, with such compatriots as Kevin Turner and Dave James and Rob Charles and Mike Watts, Caroline Martin, I don't know who else was on there, but there were several other people that you may remember who was on at the time. Wasn't a very long stint out there, but at least he did actually work with Caroline, and he was Keith Lewis. Now, Keith Lewis, after leaving Caroline, went on to ILR. I think he worked briefly with his own Mercury or Southern Sound, and then went on to Great Western Radio down in Swindon. And in fact, at the time of the raid, he was one of the people who was instrumental in actually passing on a number of very, very useful items to the station, which may have been forgotten by certain people now. Anyway, he was eventually picked up by Carey's operation and joined the latest rebirth of Radio Nova fairly early in its career, and has been doing quite well. He's fairly tight, sort of raunchy sounding DJ. Sounds very much like Dave Windsor, actually, if you've ever heard Dave Windsor's programmes. He's very similar. And on Good Friday, he was the guy who'd been retained by Carey basically to feed in programmes and tapes and things. And he does links on the Insight programmes, for instance, but he decided that he might as well get into doing something. So he started to do some live links on the programming on Good Friday. On Saturday, however, he vanished from Nova, didn't turn up at work. And where was he? Ah, well, there you go, you see. He was actually bouncing around in North Sea again. He and Kevin Turner had gone to join a number of anoraks on a boat trip organised by Albert Hood. I think Albert took 3 boatloads of anoraks out on Easter Saturday to visit the Ross Revenge. And he was one of them. And whilst he was out there, he got talking to Neil Gates, who gave him a complete tape of Caroline jingles and such like. And he brought those back with him, and he decided he was going to do something with them. Meanwhile, on Saturday, a member of the Ross Revenge support group team delivered 2 tapes to the Radio Nova facilities, to their reception desk, which had been recorded feverishly previously. In fact, what had happened was that Andy Bradgate had been recording, as Holy as he could, a programme which was to be aired on Easter Sunday, starting, first of all, with continuous music for a couple of hours from 10 o'clock up till midday, and then from midday the idea was to open up transmissions, and he was going to say something exciting. Nobody knew what it was, of course, and in fact, when Keith Lewis turned up at Radio Nova's facilities earlier on Sunday morning to get things ready, he listened through these tapes and decided that they were not appropriate for Easter Sunday. They were far too laid back, and far too little was really being done in the way of exciting that everybody was expecting here on Carey's 27th birthday. So consequently, the operation decided to abandon those tapes, and that's just as well in many ways, because Keith Lewis decided to launch into his own program. Some programs they were. If you were listening in, I'm sure you were being very, very excited by it all, because it really was quite good stuff. He actually put together programming which included lots and lots and lots of promos and jingles and things from the old days. He did the first part of his program actually particularly linked into the 60s era of the station. And then he went into the 70s with sort of appropriate promos and jingles and things to go with it. I've got a bit of a struggle in my throat, just excuse me a second. Sorry about it, I'll have a bit of a cough there. Yes, and then after that he launched into some interesting little bits and pieces for the station, things that had never been possible when it was an offshore station. First of all, he opened up the phone line, and when he did that, well, that really did go to show just what Caroline is all about, because by the end of the day, well, in fact, estimates vary a little bit, but some estimates say that the station had in excess of 350 crews, and well over 750. In fact, he continued to take calls way into the evening after the station had actually closed down, and from what I understand, he continued to take quite a lot of interested Caroline parties, so it can't be bad. In addition to that, the lines were so busy. There were actually 25 phone lines at Nova's studio, and because they were having so much difficulty coping with it, he actually cut the lines down very quickly. And an old friend of ours, a gentleman called Robert Montgomery, who's if he's listening today. Hello to you, Rupert. He's an old fan of this programme, I know. He sort of popped down the road to give Pete a hand and on the switchboard. So they opened up the lines again and decided to do one or two things, and we were able to, for instance, run some competitions, which was rather nice. And it really did what always happens in the they usually ask questions which they only prove them wrong on, and that's exactly what happened. For instance, one question was asked about how many pixels a Radio Caroline broadcast from over the years, and he said there were 3, and of course that's quite wrong. 5, but in fact he corrected himself twice. He corrected himself twice, and then by saying it was 5. Of course they were the Federico, the Amigo, the Lost Revenge, the Chica 2, and the Amigo. In case you wondered what they were, that's what they were. In addition to that, he ran another competition which was to come up with all the mailing addresses that have been used by the radio station in the United Kingdom over the years. And again he was corrected, apart from the Dean Street and Chesterfield Gardens addresses in London, and the Liverpool address. Of course, there was one other which was up in the Isle of Man, Ramsey in the Isle of Man. It was our very own Pete Archer who got that one right. He corrected him on that and won a prize. So congratulations to Pete. Congratulations over that all week. So well done to him. Yes, excellent stuff. Really was very enjoyable radio, and I don't know about you, but I certainly very much enjoyed it. If you weren't able to listen to the programmes on satellite, then I suggest you go out and get yourself a satellite. It's even more exciting. I'm afraid it all fell flat on its face completely during the afternoon, because I think it was at about 3 o'clock. People was obviously feeling a bit tired, having been on the air since 9:48 yet, got the programmes on the Sunday morning. He decided to have a bit of a break, and quite right too, and he put on one of these tapes that he did miraculously fast. But it excused the loss of the tape by telling station manager Peter Moore that our station first came out. And this is what you would have heard if you would have been in at that time. So let's see what you think of this one. This is the 2 appropriate tracks that were played at the time. I think they were certainly very, very appropriate indeed.
Ship the song, do you leave me anymore? It's lying back and fading.
Fairly appropriate records, I think. The first one, of course, Ship to Shore by Christopher, followed here by a theme tune to the original Radio When We Go Broke, which I'm sure many of you will remember. Well, since then, as I say, Caroline has continued, although there seems to be a bit of misunderstanding as to exactly what's supposed to be going out on the air and what isn't. But certainly for the time being, there are a number of old posters appearing bit by bit. The studio facilities are getting better. I understand in the week, for instance, that Caroline obtained the use of a cartridge machine and a number of other goodies as well, so great at getting together. They seem to, they have to deliver the tapes every morning to, or at least prior to the programmes to Radio Nova, and once again, there have been a couple of problems there where the thing hasn't come on the air until about 10:30. It's supposed to start at 10 o'clock and go through until 6 o'clock each day. Although sometimes it starts earlier, sometimes it starts later, and sometimes it goes through later in the evening as well. There are occasions when Keith Lewis decides he's in a good mood and comes in later. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But the facility is there until the end of May, The station is starting to advertise for people who might want to advertise on the air, but whether that will be able to bring enough money to keep it going or not is another matter. However, the interesting thing is that Chris Carey himself, I am being told by a number of people, it's unlikely to be sighting at the satellite transponder facility. He had to fight fairly hard to obtain it, and it looks as if he may well keep it going. So it may be that Caroline gets the opportunity to fly a bit longer than people might think at the moment. So don't get too despondent, and I suggest you do go out and get yourself a satellite receiver. If you don't want to buy one, you feel it's not worth investing so much money in to do that, then you can rent them. I mean, I rent mine. It costs me about £23.50 a month, which is a very small price to pay for the extra facilities you can get. Apart from Caroline, of course, you'll be able to hear other things on there as well, like, for instance, excellent super stereo Radio Luxembourg as well, if you want to listen to that. So lots and lots of facilities on there, and it really is excellent, worthwhile value for money if you want to go and have a listen to it or watch satellite TV. Very nearly at the end of this particular programme once again, so it really only remains for me to just tidy up with a few loose ends for you now. Just quickly give you the address to write to once again if you'd like to write to us here at WFRL. It's a German mailing address, so hopefully you can make a note of it. The address is as follows. It's Post Office Box 220342. I'll repeat that once again. It's Post Office Box 220342. W5600 Wuppertal 22 in Germany. That's PO Box 220342 W5600 Wuppertal 22 in Germany. And that's the address to write to. If you do write to us, it'd be nice if you can enclose an international reply coupon, or if you're in the UK, just envelope or something. But certainly that's the way to get hold of us, and if you'd like to contribute anything to the programmes or comment on us here, then we would certainly be only too pleased to hear from you. And of course our station manager Andy Walker would be delighted to hear reception reports from you as well. We do occasionally have a telephone line in operation as well, and if you happen to know what that is from previous broadcasts, which we can't unfortunately announce anymore because of the Broadcasting Act, then you might like to give it a ring. You may have old tapes or remember the number. If you do, then we're always only too pleased to hear from you as to how we're getting on. Our next broadcast, of course, is on the 12th of May, which will actually be our 5th birthday broadcast, so we'll be doing something a little bit special for that. And from that point of view, I hope that you'll be listening in then. I'll be back with, probably quite a lot of interesting news, because we'll probably know a little bit more then about the situation with regard to whether the satellite facilities for Radio Caroline are able to carry on or not. But I rather suspect they will be able to somehow. I think you'll probably find that our friend Mr. Carey will actually decide that Caroline can carry on using the satellite, and we may well be able to hear Caroline a little bit longer from the facilities of the Astra 1A satellite. In the meantime, you might like to get yourself a copy of the latest Caroline Movement magazine, because that will be out by the time this broadcast is probably being received by you. It's certainly on its way from the printer anyway, and it's a special celebration issue. There's two magazines together once again. There's going to be a magazine which will take a look at all the latest news, rather exciting bits of news, number 49. But there's also a golden issue, number 50, the Caroline Movement's 50th magazine, and that's a very, very special one indeed, which I think you will certainly like. I won't give away exactly what's in it, but if you'd like more details, you can write to the Caroline Movement at number 23, Grove Road, Grays in Essex, and that's RM17 6JY. If you didn't get the address, don't worry, drop us a line here at WFRL and we'll be only too happy to pass on information for you. And you'll get all the latest news about Caroline and the offshore world from there. But that's about it from me, I'm afraid. So stand by and keep tuned for one Keith Archer. Don't forget his head's a little bit slated this week because there's one more From me though, that's it until next month. So I hope you've enjoyed the programme, and I look forward to seeing you next time. That's it for now. Bye-bye.
We walk in
feeling a lot better now. I was feeling a little unwell the last time that we were here. I tried to make my way to the studio, but the flu just got great. So there you go. Anyway, we've got lots to go through today. We're going to have a look at the shortwave stations heard over the last 2 weeks. Looking in depth at last weekend's stations. Did you hear those spoof ones last weekend? Oh dear. Adrian Cook reports on the Radio Authority's definition of pop music. We look at the legal news on the home front and worldwide. Adrian Cook also looks at the new Astra satellite programs and what it means to the viewer. Plus, of course, we look at the new Radio Caroline, CTT. Before I give you the main address, I must thank Adrian Cook for standing in at the last minute for me when I wasn't feeling too well. So, Adrian, if you're listening, thanks a lot there, mate. Anyway, if you'd like to write us here at WFRL, our main address is PO Box 220342, W/5600, Wuppertal 22 in Germany. Let's start with a nice piece of music, shall we? We'll start with Fleetwood Mac. And go your own way, it's the Archer's Rod of Radio on 6275, and we're going to have a look at the shortwave radio news now. Radio Anorak, a new station to the shortwave, was heard on the 24th of March on 6315 kHz. The station disappeared in the latter part of the morning in a fashion that could be described as sounding as if the transmitter had blown up. Another newish station on the shortwave is Radio Mi Amigo, relaunched on the 9th of March, with its official start date the 30th of March last Saturday. Mi Amigo is the same station that operated on FM in the London area. The station's operator, Terry Phillips, now who's he? Used 6275 every other Saturday, and Mi Amigo's next broadcast is next Saturday, the 13th of April at 10 AM, playing Golden Oldies. Western North Kent Radio, WNKR, were both on Sunday and Monday to the early evening. Although Sunday the station was late in starting because the rig wouldn't fire up, and on Monday a special extended version of the free radio show was aired. AM, FM, and shortwave. It's Archer's World of Radio. Falcon Radio were heard briefly on Saturday with rock music and a very good signal on 6820 kHz. Relays were also carried, including a 45-minute relay for sisters Radio Virginia and later RWI were heard. WFRL, wonderful free Radio London, was doing a broadcast on Saturday night on 15830 kHz on the 19-metre band, and around 2 o'clock in the morning, something that a radio organiser or radio station sort of really doesn't like happening. The transmitter blew up, didn't Mr. Walker? What actually happened?
Well, according to Terry Phillips, who was putting it out, he got up to have a piss.
A pee? Sorry?
He got up to have a leak about 3:15. And he switched on his radio and it weren't there. So he went out to the shed where the rig was and opened up the door, and everything was, all the valves were glowing as they should have been. But the needle on the meter was full reflection, and there was smoke billowing out underneath it.
So he did the wise thing and switched it off. Yeah. So he didn't get burned or anything like that?
Well, no.
He did burn the house down. No.
It's Archer's World of Radio.
Well, many thanks to Andy Walker for popping in the studio and let us know what actually happened to the 19-metre band transmitter. Now on Monday, a number of spoof stations could be heard on April Fool's Day, and there's quite a few send-ups actually, especially the one that sent up Steve Southwest on BRI, and also there was another station on Radio Crash, supposed to be from Holland. Supposed to be having a QSO with Weekend Music Radio.
Radio Bella took off, but that was a send-up, I believe, of Radio Stella, wasn't it?
Yeah. I didn't hear it myself, though.
Hey?
I didn't hear it myself.
No, I actually missed the majority of these. I actually heard the Jack Russell Nicky Cave, the spoof of.
Yeah, I heard that.
I think the production of that was very, very good.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone's going to own up to actually did that. But, well, you know who did the Radio Flatlands, though, don't we?
Yeah.
Come on, should we tell them who did the Radio Flatlands?
No. Did he say? He admitted to it.
Yes, he actually admitted to it. I actually spoke to him on the landline, on the telephone, and he said, yeah, he said that was me that did that.
Secret night, a radio confusion. There you go.
Anyway, for all the stations put out spoof things over the weekend. And did anyone hear the Caroline 7558? Unfortunately, or say fortunately, really, I didn't hear it. But quite a few people did. I was actually busy listening on the Astra satellite to some other good vibes as you're going out, but more about that a little later on. Anyway, let's have another piece of music, shall we? This is the Eagles.
Never argue with a confirmed Cadillac. You're criminal, Martin. Hi to Gary and Lisa from all at Radio Freedom in Colchester. Nice to have you call this afternoon at 0276 IT's words, we're having fun. Easter Sunday. This is Caroline playing Bob Dylan.
They're relaying pop music, or they're also doing insight viewpoint. So some interesting programs there from Caroline. I like the pop music
One music. 8 hours of non-stop pulsating dance. Yes. One music is a subscription service. For further details, telephone English.
Couldn't believe it when his call was answered. The QSO then went on for some 40 minutes. Now, this is the first ever known QSO contact between a North American and European free radio station. Now, we believe conditions at that point were very good, and it even appears that the revolutionary voice of Plainsville were heard the long path as the US antenna was beamed towards Asia. That means he took the long way round, if you get that. Just after equinox, conditions on 19 metres seem to be wide open at times, and it's a pity that our transmitter flew up 2 hours after it had been on the air, because I reckon that we might have done well on that. Yes, I definitely do. So for Keith Archer's World of Radio, this has been Andy Wilson reporting. On the one and random night. To me.
There's no more of this here show, folks. I hope you've enjoyed the music over the past 1.5 hours with me, Paul Johnson. And don't forget to join me again next week when we shall be having another featured album on the programme and another 90 minutes of great music coming your way next week. So hope you can join me then. In the meantime, I'm going to love you and leave you today with this one from Dread. Take some Compactors. This is, of course, the Guitar Man. So yours truly, Paul Johnson. Have yourself a great week. Catch you next week. Bye for now. 1HZ in England. One right off today.
It's Archer's World of Radio.
And now Adrian Cook looks at satellite television.
Coming soon to Sky One. One of the greatest adventures.
Well, that's how Radio Caroline stayed on Sunday, Easter Sunday. Rather good, wasn't it? Oh dear. How things changed less than 24 hours after the fantastic programs you heard from Keith Lewis
You've got to suffer this.
Listen carefully.
Well, he's either microphone shy, or, like me, forget to put the fader down. Well, it's all a far cry to Sunday's programmes, but he hasn't got a complaint about Radio Caroline and the very poor programmes that are going out at the moment. You can give Peter Moore a ring right now on 081 348 4218, and I believe you'll go straight to the Radio Caroline studios in brackets. Yes, anyway, that's just about it from WFRL this time round. I'd like to thank Terry Phillips, Andy Walker and Ian Johnston. I'm going to leave you with the main exec. If you'd like to write to any one of us here at WFRL, write to P.O. Box 2203 42 5/600 Wuppertal 22 in Germany. Until next time, be good, and we see you anon. Bye-bye for now.
WFRL, visiting your shortwave. There's only one big L. WFRL. Capital C, WFRL. From the center of London to the heart of Europe, this is WFRL. Washington, 40 meters shortwave. WFRL, relating over the 90s. You're a WFRL, playing classic rock on 40 meters. WFRL, playing classic gold on 40 meters.
Yes, mate.
Our next official broadcast should be on the 2nd of June. But we celebrate 5 years next month. So the 12th of May, tune in, 48 metre band, plus God knows where else. The 12th of May, 2 hours between 10 and 12, WFRL's 5th birthday program. Happy birthday to us, happy birthday to us, happy birthday WFRL, happy birthday to us. But that's on the 12th of May.